Intel suffered its biggest quarterly loss in company history, with revenue dropping 36% as the chipmaker battles inventory corrections in the PC market. The company is in the midst of a massive turnaround campaign led by CEO Pat Gelsinger, who's looking to take back market share from rivals in the chip space. Pat Gelsinger joins us now. Pat, always nice to get some time with you here. So a little different story today in terms of the stock market reaction compared to the previous few quarters. Shares of Intel up here almost 6%. What do you think investors are taking away from the quarter?
Thank you, Sazi, and always great to be able to join you and the Yahoo team. It was a meet, beat, raise quarter, and we were able to beat on the top line. We were able to beat on the bottom line and increase guide for next quarter. So I think everybody says, wow, that was a good quarter. We obviously did so through very challenging macro environment. Market conditions, and being able to demonstrate great cost discipline as well. So all of the steps of our turnaround are underway. Good execution on the product side, good execution on the process technology momentum that we have. And I think investors are looking at it and seeing a bit of the green shoots, as we've described, that's starting to emerge in the Intel turnaround story.
Pat, one question I've gotten over the past 12 hours or so after the earnings have hit. We are unclear, this is mostly from the analyst community, we are unclear if the bad news from Intel is done. How do you see it?
Well, we have to look at that across the different market segments. And in the PC market, we'd say, we think we're seeing that turnaround. Inventory reductions made substantial progress in Q1. We think they're finished in Q2. We feel like we continue to gain share in the marketplace, and we have a very strong roadmap of products. So in the PC marketplace, we're actually pretty optimistic that we've bounced off the bottom and now we're starting to see a good trajectory. In the data center and cloud market, it was a tough quarter, but even there, we did better than people expected, and we think we were able to hold market share, and I called it a turning point in the data center market. One where, we've been fighting for a while, and we had, to fight through some poor product execution. Our next generation Gen 4 Xeon, the Sapphire Rapids product, ramping very well, hitting 1 million units. And all 4 of the next generation products, the second half of this year, key new products for next year on our next generation process technology, Intel 3, looking very healthy. The market is seeing us deliver those before they expected. So all of that is reinforcing product execution as well as process execution. And that combination is saying, wow, these guys are really starting to lean in. Tough market, but they're starting to stabilize. And as I said, the first moment that I see these glimmers of hope in the data center business. Tough inventory in the networking markets and edge. But even there, we're starting to see that, we have a good handle on this. We don't think we lost any market share. It's just overall tough market conditions. And obviously, globally, we're starting to see China start to emerge a bit more. And a second half in the tech industry is definitely stronger than the first half in most years. So all of those put together, we're a bit optimistic that, Q1, improvement in Q2, and improvement through the second half of the year.
Someone shot me a note, Pat, telling me that Intel 3 could be a real potential stock mover for your company. What is Intel 3, and when will it start showing up in your financials?
Yeah, Intel 3, that's, we said 5 nodes in 4 years. Intel 7, Intel 4, which is Meteor Lake, which ramps in the second half of this year. Intel 3 is the next year process technology that we're basing our next generation server products on, what we've called Granite Rapids and Sierra Forest. And when we said that we were delivering the first one of those Sierra Forest in the first half of next year, I think everybody says, wow, that's a little bit sooner than we thought on a leadership process technology like Intel 3. The combination of a stronger server product on a stronger process technology gave everybody in the marketplace a bit more confidence than I think people expected. And with that, we're obviously building that in the U.S., a key process technology for U.S. manufacturing, but also for our foundry business as well. And I think that combination of getting back to leadership in the data center with leadership process technology, everybody's looked at that and says, wow, they're starting to get their execution mojo back. And I think that was one of the things that I was most proud of my team in the first quarter, really executing product, process, and financial discipline.
It was an interesting week for earnings, Pat. You had Microsoft and Google, I would say, had earnings call battles in terms of AI. I think they took some thinly veiled shots at another, but that's just me reading a lot into these calls. Where does Intel fall into this generative AI discussion?
Yeah, and I think, I like to think about the AI discussion in three parts. One is you have these ultra high-end machines for large learning models, where you're now talking about hundreds of billions of parameters that run for months to see stabilization of the model. And there's few that can create those models, and Microsoft and Google being two examples that can invest in these very high performance computing environments. And I sort of think about that, Sazi, like weather simulations. Only a few have machines big enough to build them, but then many need to use them. And that's what we call learning versus inference. And inference is one where we say everybody wants to be able to take advantage of those large language models, but using them, not creating them. And that's really, where the second layer of this comes in. And we're starting to compete for the large language models. We have a new component called Gaudi 2, right, which is setting performance records for those largest training environments. But Intel is much more about democratizing AI. And that's where products like our Xeon Gen 4, Sapphire Rapids, strong performance on AI, helping customers to inference. And we see inferencing to become the dominant AI workload and an area of more natural strength. But then we also say the third piece is we need to enable the entire software ecosystem across every platform that we deliver. And our next generation client, for instance, has a lot of AI capabilities because you'll be able to do things on the client, generating your text, being able to do eye movement in your Zoom, being able to do real-time language translation in your Teams call, but also then at the edge, right, where you'll be using inferencing for in-store analytics or for security. In the data centers of our enterprise customers, where they want to be able to take those big models, but use it locally with their data without eliminating any of their restrictions around security and data privacy. And finally, helping for those super ultra large language model creation. So we're driving a software environment that enables everyone in the world. Generative AI becomes mainstream with democratization of AI, and that's where Intel comes in.
So in the past 7 minutes, I've heard you talk about you have an AI strategy, that's good. Potential turn or turning the corner, green shoots in the PC business. Data center, maybe some green shoots at the back half of this year. I mean, how powerful do you think a turnaround will be at Intel? Because I think there are some folks questioning the earnings power of the company 2 or 3 years from now.
Yeah, and obviously we have a lot of work to do yet in that regard. But I think everybody's looking saying, hey, they're starting to do what they said they would. We said we have to get back to process technology leadership, well underway in our discussion on Intel 3, an example of that. Product leadership, multiple generations of client products, regaining share in the client. Data center, the product, a little bit better than we thought. They're getting their mojo back. And then, of course, the big investments around, our process technology leading to the foundry business, a whole new area that is so aligned with the Western interest of a balanced, resilient supply chain. Our margins, we laid out a picture for that improving as we go through the year, as we go through the reserves in the front end of the year, as we start, building back and having fully loaded factories, improving the margin structure of the company for the long term. Clearly we've laid out a multi-year path for that to accomplish. We got a lot of work to do, but Q1, meet, beat, and raise was a great foundation to build on for the rest of the year.
All right, we'll leave it there. Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger, always great to get some time with you. We'll talk to you soon.